In the late 1980s, my mum's twin brother, Shane, accepted a job at Triumph, prompting him to relocate from his Oxfordshire home to Vancouver, Canada, with my grandmother Joan soon following suit. There he married a Canadian woman named Gabby and established a life for himself. With a family now split across the globe, my mother and I travelled to Canada every other year or so to reunite with them. That's me with the Shirley Temple looking hair. In 2016, my uncle and his wife decided to prepare for retirement and purchased a ranch situated 7 hours north of Vancouver. When visiting for the first time, I remember the initial dread of having to undergo a 7-hour car journey, but in the end found myself wishing that I could do it again. As we drove up the Trans-Canada Highway, I traversed through towns that were established during the late 1800s Cariboo Gold Rush. I found every site within these towns to be a photographic opportunity and reminiscent of the Midwestern photographic scenes that I had long admired, such as those captured by photographers Barry Phipps and Dave Giordano. Although the scenes were unfamiliar to me, I still found them charming.
1.5 and 3/4, can you do 2?
From that initial journey, I knew that documenting these small towns was something that I wished to achieve, and years later, I was able to fulfill that ambition. Even though I had previously visited and passed through these places, I wanted to know more about their history from start to finish for this project. I was eager to learn and understand the tranquility and downfall of these small residential passerby towns, and so with the brief outline of the old Cariboo Road North, I began my project and continued to research along the way. As we travelled from town to town, we would stop at small shops and tourist information spots, collecting pamphlets and booklets to learn more about the history and current state of each place. As we moved through, I took the time to engage with the locals and speak to them to gather information. In the evenings, we would either stay in a motel or at a campsite, where I would spend time in a bar or restaurant frequented by the townspeople, observing and learning about each township. Despite the towns appearing somewhat desolate, there was always an undercurrent of life. Due to a lack of funding and opportunity, it seemed as though many of the towns have remained frozen in time for the last 30 years. The Fraser Valley is home to each town, nestled amidst mountains that add to their charm. The climate in the valley is unique and is home to Canada's only desert. During summers, temperatures in the area can soar above 40 degrees, leading to droughts, devastating wildfires, and torrential rains that cause landslides and flooding. In the winter, the temperature can plummet as low as -20 degrees, causing the river to come to a standstill and making all travel treacherous. Since my last visit, the extreme weather conditions of the interior landscape had permanently scarred the towns along the way. Remains and reinforcements were seen in an attempt to stop mass flooding from the Thompson and Fraser River, with the town of Lytton now absent from my trip also due to it being entirely burnt down by wildfires.
The small BC town was virtually wiped out by a massive inferno 1 year ago, right after setting the record for the hottest temperatures recorded in Canadian history. 2 people were killed while hundreds lost their homes. A tragedy also seen as a sign of the future as our climate warms.
Even as I record this now, towns in the valley are being swept away due to flooding caused by the rapid melting of snow and ice from the mountains that surround them. The hastening depletion of these small towns has instilled in me a sense of urgency to capture evidence of their existence. With this in mind, and now a deeper understanding gained through first-hand research and a sense of importance, I present my completed documentary project, Living in the Dust.